sorry, I want to definitely show you is the Bleem. Now I actually have the other two somewhere because it's got so many games. Now what Bleem was, it was an emulator for a Dreamcast that allowed you to play original PlayStation games such as this, Gran Turismo 2. And how it worked was, it was basically like a boot disc. You just basically, you know, put the disc in and then obviously power it up, and that's how it worked. And when you got to a certain part of the screen where it says, you know, take the disc out, you put the game in and it runs really, really well. And obviously it's kind of shocking because of the fact, because the Dreamcast was basically a 6th gen console and the PlayStation was a 5th gen. But it looks better than even on a PlayStation 2 through its backwards compatibility, or through a PlayStation 3, which is mind-boggling that the Dreamcast can run, you know, these games better than on even a PlayStation 3. It was just amazing. There was also Metal Gear Solid and what was the other one? Tekken 3 as well. And it's just amazing to see it run really, really well on this console. Absolutely amazing. Now, it did have a lot of great stuff with it. It had a lot of great games, but it also had a lot of things that kind of made it go down. The thing about it was, obviously it didn't have a lot of third-party support. The thing that killed it was basically the Saturn having an early end. And that was the one thing that kind of put off a lot of people thinking, no, I'm not developing for that, because I've just wasted so much money developing games for the Dreamcast, for the Saturn. There's no point, you know what I mean? And that's just how a lot of people felt, and you can't blame them. So a lot of third-party developers turned away and went to the whole new next generation with the PlayStation 2, the Xbox and the GameCube, and that's what basically happened. And it was a shame to see that happen, but also with the PlayStation 2 coming out basically with its, you know, DVD player being, you know, like the cheapest one, a lot of people bought that because, again, it was basically seen as a casual, you know, a casual player. You could buy it as a DVD player and you done like that, you know what I mean? And that was the thing. But when you compare it to the PlayStation 2, it had a lot of stuff that the Dreamcast had. There was stuff that the Dreamcast had, but the PlayStation 2 didn't do. And that was, well, many things. The Dreamcast actually had more superior power than the PlayStation 2. And again, that's the actually honest, you know, truth about it. It had really, really good power inside it. But developers just didn't, you know, want to make games for it, since they just believed it's just going to be another Saturn. It's going to go in about 2 years. That's the thing. And again, unfortunately saying that was right. You know, that's what ended up happening. And unfortunately, it was the sad thing about it. It was a sad truth. But also, the biggest issue was it had a really bad piracy issue. The format that was used was a GD-ROM, which, again, Chuchi Rocket, that's what the disc looked like. Now, GD-ROM stood for Gigabyte Disk Read-Only Memory, and it actually held up to 1.2 gigabytes of data, which at the time when the Dreamcast came out was a huge amount. Compared to a PlayStation game, 700 megabytes, and, you know, a Nintendo 64 game up to 64 megabytes was a huge number from what, you know, was seen before. And it was just amazing to see that happen. But once the PlayStation 2 came out using DVDs, again, you know, the PlayStation 2 beat it on its, you know, format using DVD-ROMs. Even though the PS2 did use CD-ROM, did use CD-ROMs at first with some of its games. And that's, you know, the thing about it. And even though the Dreamcast did die an early death, you know, as I said, 29 months, the thing about it was that even though piracy was the thing that was a big thing that killed the Dreamcast, it kind of rose it up, since to this day, even though the Dreamcast is seen as a failed, you know, console, you know, as I said, with, you know, what it offered, it basically is still alive, and it gets new games to this day. And again, after 17 years, this console is still going on. It's still thinking, and as I said before, it has all of its 6 billion players, if you remember from the advertisement. But again, there was so much that, you know, Sega could have done right, and a lot of things it could have done that went wrong, unfortunately. One of them was its bad advertising. Its advertising for this console was absolutely strange and unusual. As I said, the scene with the barbers, with those barbers cutting the people's hair in the prison, you know, what does that have to do with the Dreamcast and, you know, games? I just don't understand that. And, you know, their advertising was absolutely terrible. It really, really was. I thought the American advertising was terrible, but the advertising for over here for Dreamcast was confusing as heck, and it makes you think what the heck was going on with Sega. You know that's just the thing. But even after that, obviously Sega became third party, and obviously made a lot of games, you know, for its competition in 6th generation, 7th generation, and even the 8th generation. But overall, again, it had a lot of great things. You know, still amazing games for it. And the reason I kind of think of it so special is because, as I said, the Dreamcast was the first console I ever had commercially when it was out, and I loved it. It really, really was good. And it was a bit, you know, upsetting when I heard that Sega was, you know, stopping the production of the Dreamcast and focusing on first party, being a third party. And I kind of blame the PS2 for that for many years, which a lot of people do. But when you hear the truth, it's like, yeah, I can understand why. But the thing is, you know, I don't care what people say. They might hate this console. But someone say, happy birthday, Dreamcast. 17 years old today. 14, 10, 16. Why don't we play it together? If you know, that's from the, you know, the old adverts. I just want to say, happy birthday, and, you know, if you are playing Dreamcast tonight, you know, hope you have a good time, whatever you're playing, you know, that's the thing. So I want to say, have a good day playing Dreamcast. Wherever you are, Japan, America, Europe, Canada for some reason, Sweden, whatever, have a good day playing Dreamcast. Just have a great time. Play some amazing games, and, you know, just do all sorts. Just play some great games on the Dreamcast. And I just want to say, thank you very much for watching, and I know it's been a very, very long video, but I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoy this video, and see you later on. Bye.